Alright, again, welcome to Intro to Computer Programming. This is going to be our very first topic for ITS 101. So last time we've discussed, or we've had our course orientation. So we've talked about the things that we're going to do, or the lessons that we'll be taking up for ITS 101, the programming tools that we'll be needing, and now basically just the typical general orientation for each course. So, and for today's topic, we will continue with our very first one. Again, that will be Introduction to Computer Programming. So if you have any questions or clarifications, kindly share it with the class later on. And okay, is it possible to turn on your cameras, guys, while we are doing the class? Katong na ay kaya ra mag-on silang camera, like you have unlimited internet. Please turn on your cameras so I can see you. Okay, thank you so much. I'm seeing a few already. So just keep your cameras turned on all throughout. Only if kaya ra sa internet. If you have unlimited internet, please do so. Thank you, guys. Alright, so again, previously we've had our course orientation. We've talked about the online learning management systems, course summary and class arrangements, course requirements and student directory, and of course the tools for programming. And for today, we will talk about Introduction to Computer Programming, particularly what is computer programming, programming languages, types of computer programs, and uses of computer programs. These are the list of the topics we'll be taking today. So, learning objectives. By the end of the lesson, the student will. Please take note of this. Please check yourselves, evaluate yourselves later on if these learning objectives have achieved. If wala gani, please ask questions. Right? Understand computer programming by relating it to our daily activities. So we're going to correlate computer programming to our daily activities. So unsay similarities sa computer programming and our daily activities as human beings. Then we're going to understand how a computer program works in performing a task. So we already know what computer programs are. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that. But just how a computer program works. We're going to understand a general idea on how a computer program works. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to identify the different computer programming languages. There are tons of computer programming languages all throughout. And then identify the types of computer programs, and of course interpret the different applications of computer programs. So we're just going to talk about some of the things relating to computer programming. So I guess everybody has already used at least one computer program in their entire life, right? So if you've used computers before, maybe some of you already used Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Publisher, browsers like Chrome, and maybe some of you have already experienced with higher end programs like Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrator, something like that. So we're just going to talk about them. Now our very first topic with computer programming. Okay, so our first topic is to relate programming to our daily life. So this is how I prepare my favorite sandwich, or how to prepare your favorite sandwich. This is the step-by-step procedure. Let me see if magana na ba akong tablet. Hold on. Bilis ang magana ganun. Let me check it again. Okay, magana na siya. Alright, so today we're going to share our ways of how do we prepare our favorite sandwich. Well, I'll start first. Okay, so this is one of the daily activity. Maybe not daily for everybody, but just something that is related to any daily activity lang. And how I'm going to prepare mine. Step 1 is get 2 slices of wheat bread. Step 2, toast the bread. Step 3, add mayonnaise. Step 4, add lettuce. Step 5, add 2 slices of tomatoes. Step 6, add 1 or 2 pieces of fried eggs. Step 7, add 1 slice of cheddar cheese. And that's it. Alright? So, out of this step-by-step procedure nga itong i-provide, do you think, even though dili ka kabalo mo luto, do you think you'll be able to do this? Anyone? Do you
Yes,
think?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, Babu.
All right. Why is it?
Yes,
Ano
sir.
naman?
Yes, sir, Babu.
Yes, sir.
Because there is steps, sir, on how you are going to do.
Okay, go ahead, Nila Mil. Say go ahead.
Sir, because there is a steps on how you are going to do.
All right, that's correct. Okay, so the steps, diba? Kung na steps, it just makes things easier, diba? That's why if you bought new appliances or yeah, new appliance at home, maybe if you bought new toy or something like that, new gadget, although oftentimes dili na to ginabasa, but it's always better if you're going to check the the instructional material or the manual, the user manual. It's because it makes things easier. So right here, even though dili ko kabalo muluto or anybody who doesn't know how to cook, but since we have the step-by-step procedure, at least he or she will be able to do it, right? Bisan siguro bata, so long as nasabot niya ang instruction and the instruction given is clear. So this just the same with any other activities. For example, unsa ang pagluto, ikaw di ka balong muluto kanon, bugas, di ka balong di ka kabalong muluto og kanon using rice cooker. But if you look in the step-by-step procedure, I guess it would be easier for you. Maybe not. It's not gonna be very easy, but it's not gonna be very hard either. It's because of the step-by-step procedure. So why are we talking about these steps of step-by-step procedures? So to answer that, let's talk about what is computer programming. Let us understand first what is a computer program. A computer program is a sequence of instruction that guides a computer to perform the task you want it to do and deliver the expected outcome. Okay? So when we say a computer program, it's just a list of step-by-step procedures. Just like this one, we are trying to give this instruction to a person, but a computer program is like an instruction given to a computer to perform the task that you want it to do. Diba? So for example, ganahan ka nga mo calculate of large complex numbers. So you will use calculator. You have to give instruction to the calculator so that it will perform the task that you want it to do, right? So that's the same thing with computer programming. Or computer program. It's just a sequence of instructions that guides a computer to perform the task you want it to do and deliver the expected outcome. So you're trying to instruct the computer what to do, and in return, you are expecting a a positive outcome out of those instructions you ihatag. So one thing to make sure when giving instruction to computer is that you have to make sure that the instruction is as clear, dapat masabtan siya sa computer. Alright? And that is what computer programming is all about. We'll have to give instruction to our computer in a way that the computer will understand those instructions that we are giving them. That's why we have computer languages. Right? So computer program can be compared to an instruction given to a person to perform a certain task. Now, kanina sa example about sandwiches, we are able to give that instruction to a person, and that person should be able to perform it, should be able to make the sandwich for us. Same thing with computer program. Basically, it's comparable to giving instruction to how a computer should perform your specified task. That is still computer program. Now let's have another scenario. Someone asks you Someone asks you about how to go to NORSU Bais Campus 1 from the Bais City Plaza. How are you going to instruct him or her? Okay, so kinsa itong mga taga-Bais diha. So if somebody, your classmate perhaps, from let's say from Ayumon or any other town na dili sila taga-Bais and ask you how to go to NORSU Bais Campus 1 from Bais City Plaza, how are you going to instruct him or her? Anyone would like to volunteer? Anthony. Anthony Rosales, go ahead.
Sir, mostly ang mga pedicab drivers, kabalo naman sila, sir.
That's very safe, right?
So, yeah.
Okay. If you go, how about, let's say for example, nag-drive siya o yan kabalihong motorcycle. How are you going to instruct him? Would you like to try, Anthony?
Sir, bali wala dyan ko kabalo sa mga addresses diya, sir. Pero, kuha lang, sir. Ako ra itudlo ang direction, like for example, dito nga sulod. Then, straight lang. Then sa unahan pa gyud na ay kuan na di makita ang school.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Anthony. How about Miss Nila Mil? Nila Mil. Would you like to share us the step as a
Sir,
procedure?
yes, sir.
Okay, please turn on the camera,
If
guys.
you're from the first step you're going to do if you're from Ayungon is that you're going to ride a bus from Ayungon to Bais City, and then from Bais City, I mean from Bais City, you're going to drop in the Jollibee bus station. There's a bus station there. And then the third one is that you're going to ask the pedicab driver for you to, in order for you to know where is the NORSU Bais Campus 1. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Nila Mil. All right. Again, okay, thank you for that. That's very good. Let's refresh the scenario. The scenario is you are the person is at Bais City Plaza. Asa man ang Bais City Plaza dito sa ball field? Amo ba na? Hindi ko sure. And then, if
Yes, sir.
na dito ang tao niya, na siya sakyanan, na siya motor or kotse, and he asked you or she asked you to go to NORSU Bais Campus 1, what would be your procedures? Ngayon mo hatag. Pagikan siya sa Bais City Plaza. And your goal here is to make sure that that person will be able to matutulan niya ang NORSU Campus 1. Would you like to volunteer? Kinsa ganahan mo hatag og detailed instruction. Atong goal here is to make sure that that person abot siya sa NORSU Campus 1. Okay, Gideon, go ahead.
So, gikan man siya sa Campus 1, sir, no? Padulog Lasa.
Balik.
Ako siya i-instruct
Campus 1.
from Plaza to Campus 1. So, gikan siya sa Plaza, pa-head-on ako siya straight to south, mga 1, 2, 3. Ikang mga tulo ka intersection, pa-turn left on ako siya. Yung ipon na po na ako siya another 4 intersections. Yung pag ana mo straight ahead siya, mo cross siya sa bridge. Yung mga siguro mga 300 meters gikan sa bridge or so, mo na ang Campus 1, sir.
Okay. All right. Okay, that's a lot fun. That's a lot better instruction. Okay, that's good. That's clear. Okay, thank you. All right. I have here the list by step-by-step procedure. Now, kinsay mga dili taga Bais diri kana wala pa katultol sa NORSU Campus 1? Raise your hand.
Ako, sir.
All right. Okay. All right. Let's try if this instruction list of step-by-step procedures or instruction will let you go to NORSU. Kan di mo malib, di mo matalang, or di mo masalaag. Okay, let's try. So, using human language to give the instruction, it could be something as follows. Now, gikan ka plaza, take note your dito plaza kay naman ang bus stop ko dito sa una good karon nga nana sa LBDI. All right, so first is drive 2 blocks south along the national highway. So saktong giingon ni Gideon kanina, south, and then 2 blocks. Turn left to Mabini Street. Asa Mabini Street? Katong na BPI sa corner sa police station. All right? And then keep driving straight. Pagliko na nimo sa left, keep driving straight until you reach the Cambagroy Bridge. Sakto tungsukin niya Cambagroy Bridge, and then turn right, or not necessarily you have to turn right because wala siya paliko pero mo action mo liko ang dalan good. Okay? So turn right and drive 1 kilometer straight to NORSU Campus 1, and you will see NORSU Campus 1 on the left side. All right? So using this instruction nga nag-drive mo, do you think you'll be able to reach NORSU Bais Campus 1?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So because the instruction is very clear. So first you have to drive 2 blocks south along the national highway. Pag-abot nimo ba sa Mabini Street, straight ra gyud na. Straight until you reach the Cambagroy Bridge, and once you reach Cambagroy Bridge, you have to turn right. Again, not necessarily that you have to turn right because ang dalan galiko man daan. So you just have to follow the road and then drive at least 1 kilometer straight to NORSU Bais. The NORSU Bais is on the left side. Yeah. left-hand side. Okay? Now, if we're going to break it down into step-by-step procedure, so it will look something like this. Drive 2 blocks along National Highway, turn left to Mabini Street, keep driving straight, and then if you reach the Kapambacoor Bridge, turn right, and then drive 1 kilometer straight to NORSU Bais Campus 1. The above sequence of instruction is like a human program written in English language, or maybe atong Bisayaon, maybe in Bisaya, the Cebuano dialect. So basically, it's a human program. It's like a human program written in English language. The same concept is applied in understanding how the computer program is executed by the computer in performing a task. So if we're going to compare this into a computer program, that's how you're going to write the program itself. You have to make sure that you give the step-by-step instruction on how the program will perform the task that you want it to do. So, ug yun sa niyo pag-instruct tong tao, pagtultol sa NORSU Bais Campus 1, that's the same way on how you're going to instruct the computer what to do in performing the task. The only differences are, of course, katong atong instruction ganina is using human program. It's like human program in English language or in a human language. But for us to for us to give instruction to our computer, we need to make use of a computer language, something that the computer will understand. Okay? So by definition, computer programming is the process of designing sequences of instructions that guides computer to perform a task and produce a specific computing result. So again, balik lang na to, it's just sequence of instructions. That's it. Computer program is just sequence of instruction. And may, for example, yun nga, ay maikay siya mo basketball, naka-program ng guna siyang utok. So it's because he already know, he's already well instructed or well oriented with the steps that he's going to do to perform basketball, something like that. Okay, so let's try to compare those instructions that we've atong gigama ganina. Let's try to compare it to an instruction on how we give instruction to an actual program. So for example, the task that we are trying to do is a simple program. Okay, a simple program that will perform basic mathematical operation of two numbers. So that's the task that we want our computers to do. Kinanta na mag-perform of basic mathematical operation of two numbers. Dua ka number ang iyang computer. So this is how we're going to give instruction to the computer in computer programming. Step 1 is enter the number. So for example, our first number is so my favorite number na ko, 29. Oops. Ayan na. Okay, for example, the first number is 29. Then type plus for addition, type minus for subtraction, type asterisk for multiplication, and type slash for division. So for example, that's a step 2. For example, plus siya. Okay, so we type plus because the instruction here is type plus for addition, type minus for subtraction, so on. So the user entered plus, and then for step number 3, enter another number. So let's say 70. Okay, so type another number. The user entered 70. Now, okay, so this is the instruction that the computer will perform. Atong ingon ang computer na kung ang gi-enter sa user is plus, then perform num1 plus num2, meaning 29 plus 70. However, if ang gi-enter sa user is minus, then perform num1 minus num2, or number 1, which is this, minus num2, which is 70. However, if ni-enter siya asterisk, then perform number 1, which is 29 times 70. However, if ni-enter siya og slash, perform 29 divided by 70. Pero kung ni-enter siya og any other characters or any other symbols, display an error message. Okay? And then after that, once the computer is able to perform the computation, display the result. Alright, so again, think of it na kita nihatag instructions sa computer. Let's review. First is we will instruct the computer to let the user enter a number. That's step 1. Step 2, we will instruct the computer to display an instruction for the user for them to enter plus for addition, minus for subtraction, and so on. That's step number 2. That's the instruction that we'll give to our computer. Next is we will let the user enter for another number. Okay, that's step 3. So natay dua ka number, which is the number 1, num1 and num2. This is variable. We'll talk about it in the future. For example, ni-enter ang user of 29 sa first step, and then ni-enter siya og plus sa second step, and then sa third step ni-enter siya og 70. Then sa step 4, we will let the computer perform the following task. Na siya condition. So if ni-enter ang kung sa step 2 ni-enter ang user of plus, then perform 29 plus 70. But if ni-enter siya og minus, then perform 29 minus 70. If ni-enter siya og asterisk, then perform 29 times 70. Else, if ni-enter siya og slash, then 29 divided by 70. But if ni-enter siya og any other symbol, then display an error message. You can set the display error message on your own. It would be totally up to you. Okay, so for example, butangan na to ko ang error message is just error. Wrong. So tagana operation. Kuha na lang, error operation na lang para dili kayo redundant. So you can either add an error message in error operation. Okay, and then if the computer's program done performing the computation, then display the result. All right. So what would be the expected result if kita ang computer program ron sa siguro yung result? If ni-enter tag 29 plus 70, what's the result?
99.
All right. So the result would be 99. However, this right here will depend on unsa man gonna enter sa user, di ba? That's the reason why we use variables like that, because we don't know exactly what the user will enter. That's why we will use variable to store the value na gi-enter sa user. We'll talk more about it. We'll talk about variables in our future lesson. So, but you get the idea on how we give instruction to the computers in performing a task. So basically, you just have to give them step-by-step procedure and make sure that wala kay malakang instruction. Okay. Okay. Do you have any questions so far, or is this understood? I guess you're in a general idea. That's good. All right.
Sir?
Okay, next, expressing the instruction and creating a program to the computer is through the use of a computer language. Now, obviously, those examples that we've given a while ago, that we've shared a while ago about giving instruction to a stranger how to go to NORSU Bais, it's using human language. So therefore, if we're going to write those instructions, including this, if we're going to give this instruction to our computer, obviously our computer cannot understand this because this is using human language. Now, we'll have to talk to our computer in a way that the computer will understand us, and that is a computer programming language. A computer programming language, or a programming language, is a set of rules that guides the computer what operations to execute. So again, it's easy for us to give instruction to computers, of course. Sa yun na kayo na paghatag of instruction. However, we need to make sure that the instruction that we're trying to give is something that the computer will understand. That's why we have to learn a programming language. So from the term suggests, programming language is just a language used for programming. So if we have, as human, we have different languages, the same with computers. And you can learn as much as you want. There are lots of programming languages available or all throughout the globe. You can learn as much as you want. And yeah, just like daghan kanabal ang mga language in a human language, you can also learn multiple programming language. Do you have any questions, Anthony? And yeah, Anthony?
Sir, regarding atong kuan sir sa imo nga example,
Mm.
what if multiple numbers siya ang kuan sir? Mubalik siya sa step 2.
Okay. Multiple, di ba ang atong task here is only for two numbers man. That's our task. So, muna yung instruction nga gihatag sa computers. Sa atong instruction gihatag sa sini sa atong computer. However, if gananta nga for example three numbers, gananta mo hatag og three numbers, then we can add more steps because our step here is only for num2. So after siguro sa step 3, we can add maybe step 4. Asam na ko ni. Medyo kubot na ako ang screen. Hold on. Okay. For example, mo add ta diri step 4. May unta nga enter another number. Ana. May tag enter another number and then step 5 so on. Murabag depending on the step depending on the task that you want the computer to perform, you have to give them the list, the complete list, the exact not the complete list but kanang clear nga instruction to the computer. So if again going back to the question, what if there are more than two numbers, then you can just add more steps to make sure that the computer will understand what you're trying to make it work. The task that you want it to perform. Okay, so just add more steps. Ano lang.
Thank you, sir.
No problem. So since the task here is only to perform basic mathematical operation of two numbers, that's why we only have these steps. But if more numbers are involved, then more steps. Ano lang. Okay. All right. So going back to the programming language. So again, programming language is just, from the term suggests, is just the language that the computer understands. So for the computer to perform the task that you want it to do, you have to talk to the computer in a way that the computer will understand you. Although computers can understand the human language, but it cannot use it to perform a task. All right. So how do we talk to computers for us to give them instruction? We have to use a programming language, and these are the most widely used programming languages. We have JavaScript. Here we have JavaScript. We have Python. We have Java, PHP, C#, C++, TypeScript, Shell, C, Ruby, and many more. Alright, there are tons of programming languages that you can learn, and these are, according to Wikipedia.org, these are the top 10 most widely used programming languages. So there are tons of programming languages. Like humans, we also have tons of human languages, dialects. Even sa Philippines alone, na daghan kayo. I'm not sure it's in nakabalo pila kabak dialects sa Philippines, but daghan kayo. So same with computers, of course. All right, and who among you have heard maybe one or two or some of these programming languages before? Raise your hand.
C++, sir.
C++. Okay, kinsa pa? Si Anthony, unsay mo nadunggan?
Java and Python, sir.
Java and Python.
Java.
Java. Okay, kinsa pa?
Java, sir. JavaScript o Python.
Alright, so have you heard them or have you used them before or nadunggan lang?
I have used, sir.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's good. Alright, kinsa pa? Has anybody heard or maybe used some of this programming language before?
PHP, sir. Grade 12.
Mas gana sa inyo lagi PHP day. Kita mag-PHP ra ba ta? Third year pa. Depende sa instructor, but in NORSU sa atong curriculum, PHP will be handled during your third year, so web development, because PHP is for web development. Alright, anyway, that's good to hear that some of you already have used, or maybe you already are familiar with this programming language, but the one that we'll be using for this course is C++. The university believes that this is the easiest programming language to learn, and since this is computer programming 1, we are dealing with the introductory fundamentals pa dyan, of computer programming, so why not use the easiest programming language to learn? Actually, before, when I was still in college, it was C++ that was taught to us. But since C rather, but since C is a little bit older, C++ is newer than C, that's why we use C++. C++ and C are just similar. In fact, C is just an increment of C. C++ is an increment of C. But about upgraded versions sa C is ang C++. Alright? So again, for this course, we'll be learning programming fundamentals using C++ programming language. Alright, this time let's talk about computer programs and its categories or types. Computer programs can be categorized into two types. We have application programs and system programs. Okay, so I guess maybe soon or maybe na-discuss na ninyo with your IT fundamentals. But if wala pa, maybe soon it will be discussed to you as part of the fundamental learning in IT, or not, it's not IT fundamentals, yung IT 100 introduction to computing na siya, or IT fundamentals.
Si Sir Mark Anthony, sir.
Yeah.
Mark, sir.
Intro to
Introduction.
computing, sir.
All right, intro to computing. So maybe soon, or maybe you're already done with that, but soon you'll be talking about the types of computer programs. But here it is, in computer programming, we're also going to talk about them. So there are two categories for computer programs. We have application programs and system programs. So let's start with application programs. Usually called just applications, or commonly apps. Application programs are the program that people use to execute their work in the computer. This includes document processors, spreadsheets, games, database systems, web browsers, email clients, media players, and many more. Alright, so anything that we are using in computers for us to perform our task, that is called application programs, or in much pinakasayang tawagan, apps. Okay, we already know many apps because we install that in our mobile devices. I-install natin na sa atong computers. So those are called application programs. That's the reason why it's called apps, because it is short for application program. So again, application programs are the ones that human use to perform the task that they want. Okay, so for example, ganahan kong i-message akong crush, or i-message na akong friend. So we will use Messenger, we will use messaging app, right? So you use application program. So basically, just any software or application that the people use, that the users use, people use for them to execute the task that they want. That is called application program. Now, here are some examples. We have word processors like Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office in general. We have web browsers. We have games. We have email clients. We have video players, and many more. So just think of any application that you use on your computers. So those are examples of application program. All right. Next is system programs. System programs are programs that keep the hardware and software running on a computer. This includes operating systems, programming language translators, device drivers, firmware, etc. So from the term suggests system program, this is not something that that people directly use. However, this system program backs up, enables any hardware or appliance work. For example, I have here a camera. I have a camera on this cell phone. Now, for the camera of the cell phone to work, the firmware or the camera firmware should be updated, should be working para magana na ako ang camera, because the camera alone will not work without any program. If dili siya ma-instructan, or if dili siya i-drive, kumbaga, that's why it's called driver. If dili siya i-drive sa iyang firmware, then the camera will not work. Same with okay, na ako'y guitar pedal dire, na ako'y pedals for guitars. So dili na siya mo work, di siya mohatag og effects if wala siya driver, if wala siya set of instruction given to the pedal itself for it to work every time you plug in sa guitar. And then sa paman, headset. Headset alone, this is just a hardware. This is just a hardware, and it will not work if there are no programs in it. Okay, so system programs or just these system programs are used by the hardware for them to work. So dili siya kinahanglan nga gamiton jud siya sa dili siya kinahanglan nga interact with the users. It's because only the machine or only the device will interact with this program. So example is operating system. Now what are operating system, by the way? Kinsa makatag example? Sa makatag example. We have Windows, we have Apple, Android, Linux. Alright, these are operating system. Now, we don't necessarily interact with the operating system because atong gigamit sa atong computers is kana mga application. But our computer uses operating system for our computers to work. Para mogana siya, para ma-perform niya ang mga tasks that we want them to do, the computer needs operating system. It is not something that the user will interact or use, but it is something the computer needs. Alright? Another example is device driver. Are you still there, guys? Wala po yung naka-on yung camera good.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, please turn. Okay, thank you. Alright, so device drivers. Alright, these device drivers are just katong sulting example ganina. This enables a piece of hardware or piece of appliance to work. Murabag ilahang soul ba? Ilang kaugalingon nga soul. For them to work, it needs to be programmed. It is not something that the user will really use, but it is something that the hardware needs. Example, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, mga chipset, scanners, USB, okay? So if makabantay makatry mo na nga ang USB drive or USB drive sa imong cellphone dili siya mogana. Maybe there's something wrong with its driver. Maybe kinahanglan siya update, or maybe naguba ang imong port or something like that. So it's not something that we really interact with, but it's something that the hardware needs. So for example, sa Bluetooth, naibang laptops na walay Bluetooth. Naiuban nga naa. Alright? It's because the Bluetooth device is not installed in the computer itself. Something like that. So these are called device drivers. So another example of that, kinsa nakatry og install of printer at home or sa school or asa? Kinsa nakatry? Raise your hand.
Ako, sir.
Okay, Anthony. All right. So would you like to share to us how to install a printer?
Kung sir, gamitin to yung installer sa Disney setup niya, sir.
All right. So di ba naiuban karon na mga printer nga plug and play na lang. Pagpansak nimo automatic mo install sa iyang driver automatically.
Yes, sir.
Install na
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But
Yeah.
older ones, or maybe the most common ones, katong medyo barato-barato lang, affordable nga printers, na siya pakapin nga disk drive o optical disk rather, delete drive, optical disk, and you have to use that disk to install the driver because unless bisag i-plug na nimo, but unless you're going to install the driver, the printer is not gonna work. It's not gonna be detected. Dili siya ma-detect. Okay, so again, the driver is needed so that there is something that will tell the computer na oy na ako i-install na printer sa imuha, kindly use it, I am your driver. So every time that an instruction will be sent to the printer to perform the printing, then the driver is the one who's going to interact with the computer. That's why it's called driver, because it's not really going to it's more like a messenger. Every time that we're going to send an instruction to the printer to print something, the driver is going to do that so that it will allow the activity, which is printing, for the printer itself. And then programming language translators. Okay, so we have C++, PHP, so on. So basically, why do we have programming translators? Diba? Although there are tons of computers around the globe, computer languages rather, even though daghan kay mga computer programming languages, dili tanan kabalo ang computer. Uy, sago na ron. Same ra po nagtao, daghan ka ayong language sa tibuok kalibutan, pero dili tanang tao nakabaloan ang language. For example, here in the Philippines, since we are specific in Philippines, the languages that we know, that most of us know, is Filipino and English. Pero di ta kabalong mag Chinese, di ta kabalong mag Arab, di ta kabalong mag Indian. Okay? So that's it. So same thing with computers. Although there are lots of programming languages around the globe, computers don't know all of them. Okay? So how do we use a certain computer programming language on our computer? We need to install programming language translator. So we need to install a programming language translator depending on which programming language are we going to use. Let's say, for example, magamit ta og C++, then we will have to install C++ translator in our computer para makasabot siya sa C++. If magamit tag PHP or Java, Python, if we're going to use these programming language, we have to install programming translator to our computer para we can start giving them instruction. We can start programming using these languages. All right. So these are example of system programming. It is not something that we use, that we interact with, but it is something that our hardware or our computer need to perform the task that we want it to do. Okay. Nagets na the difference between an application software or application program and a system program?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Alright,
Yes,
let's get
sir.
okay, this time
Yes, sir.
let's talk about the uses of
Yes.
computer programs. The computer program has greatly transformed the efficiency in performing tasks. It allows the automation of traditional tasks that requires a lot of work hours and energy. That's true, right? So why do we need a computer program? It's because one of the most maybe pinaka-useful nga feature or importance of a computer program is the efficiency. Okay, efficiency. Oops. This is really one of the best description or importance of pinaka dakong importance sa computer programs is efficiency in performing tasks. Basically, it allows the automation of traditional tasks that requires a lot of work hours and energy. So for example, before, this is for accounting people or accountant. Before, kinsa nakita og worksheet, accounting worksheet. Sa ako kay na nakasulay ko na sa high school because when I was still in high school, sa dagay to nakaon sa akong teacher sa una gipa-join ko og contest sa entrepreneurial sa TLE. TLE pa may tawag naman sa una. I'm not sure if what is that called now. Pa-join ko og bookkeeping. Yeah, naara ko 2 days para mag-prepare. But I was able to learn how to work with to do kanang sa worksheet. Pero worksheets for accounting, nako kaya na siya. So kaya na, and ito na debit credit. I can no longer explain that because nalibot na ko. I hate those days. But kanang grabe mo kung nag-math go dyan. Kanang di ko ganahan mo si computer. Na ay debit credit and dapat mag-balance siya or something like that. Dako kay na siya nga papel. Na kay masayop nga usa i-reason mo tanan. Say nagagurag one whole nga cartolina siguro kadako. Na kay masayop nga usa dili na magtukma tanan. So you have to erase those erase mo tanan or mag-change mo pug ka og lain nga sheet na put. So that was very hard for accounting people or accountants. However, right now there are already applications that will allow easier bookkeeping. So unsay na solve niya is ang time, because instead of spending a lot of work hours in performing the task, there are already applications that will perform it for us. Okay, another example, back when I was a kid, my father used to live far away. Ang papa na sa Manila, kami na sa Ayungon. And when I was a kid, dili pa uso kay ang telephone sa una. Dili kayo uso ang cellphone. So kung katong na yung mga cellphone, katong mga adunahan dyan kayo, katong mga dato kayo, and na magani cellphone, mahal po kayo ang load. Alright? So the easiest way to communicate, perhaps, dili easiest but kanang mas affordable way of communicating with another people is through letters. Kasi nakaabot pa og post office, inang regular pa ito. Kasi nakatry og adto post office when sa una para magpadalag letter. Wala.
Ano may kabot, sir?
Batang,
Wala, sir.
batang
Please
90s,
focus.
batang 90s mo gugugol mo nun ka. Batang ana. Di ko malimot ana, we will go to post office ana yungon. Padala mi para sa papa. Padala na ako to, sa apilan ako letter, drawing na ako. And then, bata ko to, I think I was 4 years old, 4 years old mami na tres Negros. So, mga 5 siguro, 4 to 5 years old ko magpadala mig letter. Kana, so, and it will take at least 1 month for my father to get the message, for to get the letter. Then pag mo reply siya, the following month na po na mo ma-receive ang reply. So, taas kayo ang time na magamit para pila ra ka lines of words. And then, of course, na telephone atong time but since tagayungon mi talag sa kang telephone sa ayungon. Na ay one sa una, kinsa tagayungon dire? I hope na walay tagayungan. Alright. So, naay telephone dia, basta naay usa ra ka book na telepono dia sa ayungon sa una. And there is Bais pod. I can still remember there is a Bais na telephone dia sa police station. Pero medyo lisod man siya kay talag sa nga na ba? So lisod. So the easiest way to send letter as to communicate is through letters, and it will take a lot of time. But right now, if we're going to compare those generation and this generation, we have computer programs. How do we send letters to our friend abroad or overseas?
Messenger.
Okay, messenger. Email. All right. Sa kang email medyo old school ko man ganang email. It's because nanay messenger nanay WhatsApp or something like that. Okay, so unsay na save sa letter sa una og letter karon? Time. Right now,
Time and effort.
Yes, sir.
effort, right? You'll get the message instantly. Pakita na nimo nga mibasa na din niya. Ghost ra ba ka? Or inana ba? When I say na lang kay karon. So that's one of the use of computer programs, and the one thing that it focuses on is the efficiency. The reason why we're talking about it is because that's our goal in this computer programming. Our goal is to make sure that the program we're able to create programs that will help with the efficiency of any traditional tasks. Okay, although not exactly this course, but while you're in NORSU Bais doing the BSIT, BS Com Sci course, your goal is to be able to develop a program soon that will help, that will automate traditional tasks. All right, so that's one of the requirements before graduating. You'll be able to create a program that will again automate traditional tasks. All right, so here are some of the applications of computer programs. Applications meaning uses of computer programs. Basi maglibog mo atong application program. Again, here are some of the applications, or let me just write uses of computer programs. First is media development software. For producing print and electronic media for educational and industrial setting. This includes graphics, word processing, publications, videos, and animation. So media development. One of the uses of a computer program is for media development software. Now that is okay, producing print and electronic media. So if your job is to produce graphics for printing and multimedia, then that is using media development software. Okay, so can you give us an example of any of one based on the definition? Who can give an example of a media development application software, application program? Anyone? Based on the definition that I gave here.
Microsoft, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, Crystalline. Right.
Microsoft.
Okay, Microsoft unsa man? Microsoft
Word, sir.
Word. Okay, so that falls with the word processing. That's correct. Microsoft Word is a word processing document. Who else? Supilan. Line na po.
WPS, sir.
Neil, go ahead.
WPS.
Yeah, WPS. Yeah, that's still word processing. Competential sa Microsoft Word. How about this? In this area, who can give us an example?
Canva, sir.
Photo editor, sir.
Yeah, photo editors. And I think pinsa to ni Ray si kanan pong lain nga ngalan be. Wala na. Alright, who can Kurt, Zerna,
Kwan, sir, Photoshop, sir.
Photoshop,
Sa graphics, sir.
Adobe Photoshop, Adobe Illustrators. These are media development software that falls under graphics. Publications. Who can give us example of publication in our software? Okay, maybe wala pa kay mo taga-trabaho sir good. Kung may katrabaho sa SPI. Okay, so example are Microsoft Publisher, Adobe Adobe InDesign. Okay, these are just some examples of publisher. So ang mga publications mo ni kanang software gamiton para magama og libro, magama og mga notebook, magama og mga magazine, newspapers, something like that. And then videos, obviously kadang mga video editors. Basically, for if it's gonna be developed for development, okay, for development programs or media, that is called media development software. So, for example, videos, animation. So we have Adobe After Effects, Adobe Animate, Adobe After Effects. Oh, still didn't have After Effects, but all right, that's it. Okay, so again, one of the use of computer program is for media development, meaning like creating graphics. It could be either for printing or multimedia. Next is enterprise applications for resource planning, customer service, and supply management. So maybe kuan o pataka di pa kayo familiar this it's because wa ko matakatrabaho good sir. Right, but just to give you an example, I used to work in Falcon 5 years ago, and we use ito ngalan sa application na gamit para telephone. So we're not really using telephone, katong handheld nga telephone. We are just using an application on our computer for making calls. It's called Avaya, okay? Called Avaya. All right. So we're not really using an actual telephone, but we're just using telephone installed in our computer. So enterprise applications is for resource planning, customer service, and supply management. So if anything that is about an enterprise or used for company's production, for customers or for its business operations, then it's called enterprise applications. I cannot give another examples because wala man taka-try good ani, except for the customer service na part, we use Avaya as our telecommunication program. Alright, and then for supply management, kanang ginatawag, kanang gamiton sa mga dagkong tindahan, kana as like inventory system. Anyway, that's it. Inventory, we'll just check the inventory. Like, for example, sa Shopee, nga namang mabalaan sa Shopee, pila nila ito nasa stock. It's because of a supply management application. And then, sold out na ang uban. Something like that. Next is enterprise infrastructure software. If ganina, enterprise applications, this time, enterprise infrastructure. It's like databases. Examples are databases, web servers, network servers, and email servers. Okay, so this time it's for infrastructure like databases. So another use of a program is for enterprise infrastructures that includes databases. So soon, once we get to our medyo high-end na programming, we'll get to use what exactly are database. We get to work on them, and then we get to work with web servers. So example of that is kind of Facebook. So we kada adlaw tang post, kada adlaw tang upload picture, videos, stories, and asa na siya padulong na siya sa web server sa Facebook. Meaning na dito somewhere in Palo, California, naka-save ang atong mga pictures na gina-upload. And since there are maybe millions or billions of users, Facebook users every day, so imagine billions of pictures, billions of videos atong gina-upload every day. So you just imagine how big is Facebook web servers, network servers, and many more. Product engineering software for supporting large machine and application software development. Examples include integrated development environment or IDE, computer aided engineering or CAE, and computer aided design or CAD design. Who among you has heard any of these three? Kinsa nakadog na aning tulo? Either aning tulo.
Ako,
Okay, go ahead, Gideon. Can share with
Sir.
us. Isa man.
Sir,
Sige na.
Sir?
Asaan eh?
AutoCAD sir. O kuan SketchUp. Wala may kaso like idea og CAE.
Okay. All right. So yes, we diba we use CAD for designing house or buildings, something like that, or any 3D graphics. So basically, if it's product engineering, designing a product, not just any product, but it could be either buildings, it's still a product, diba? So for product designing, product engineering, like CAD, IDE, and CAE, basically this is an example of product engineering. Nakadug na mo aning usa nila, which is the IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Nakadug na mo ani, i-discuss nato ni in our very first lesson. Di ba, nag-ask ko ninyo pa-install of CXX Droid and Dev C++. Did I ask you to do that? Or
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Diba? Anak ko nga,
Yes, sir.
that is an
Sorry.
application. That is an application that we will use
Yes, sir.
for programming. So that is an IDE, Integrated Development Environment. Because using that application, we are going to develop a program. We are going to get a mag-program, magama og program. That's why it's called Integrated Development Environment. So again, for designing a product, for engineering a product, or creating new products using computers, that is called product engineering software. And then sa CAD, just like what Gideon shared a while ago, CAD is used for kanang magama og mga buildings, mga 3D graphics, and then yeah, computer aided design. We will use this. But not dili dire kayo, di mata engineering students. Next is entertainment software. All right, this is something that we all enjoy. Music and video players and streaming apps, video games, and more. So another use of a computer program is for entertainment. So we have music and video streaming like YouTube, Spotify, Netflix, and then video games like my favorite Call of Duty, Dota, and more. Ako na ba lang laing games, basta something like that. So another use of a computer program is for entertainment. Okay. All right. So that will be all for today. Do you have any questions?
None sir.
Dali ang lagi sa klase.
No,
sir.
Sa oras sa
No.
klase di ang pagilumagan ako. All right. Anyway, for your assignment, if wala, If wala, sa nako i-prepare nga question, but sige na lang, ano lang. It will be added to the assignment na lang. So for your assignment, it will be posted in our Google Classroom. Think of any daily task, just like atong creating or making a sandwich. But it will be really up to you. Write the step-by-step instruction on how to perform it in human language. So you have to write it down to katong step by step. Katong step 1, step 2. Let me write it down. Step 1,
Step 5.
step 2, and so on. Okay? So think of any daily activity, something that you would like to share, or it could be something that this kind of kabalujid kayo ka, anything. Even pagluto, kanon using rice cooker, you can either write that, and then, or again, any activity, and then share with us the step-by-step procedure on how to perform it. That's gonna be number 1. And number 2, what are the computer programs you are using, and how does it impact you as a student during the pandemic? Okay, ay ragtas akayo kay maglisod kog basa ng daghan. Ano, gamay raman mo. It's okay pass on, pero as much as possible just a brief description or just brief explanation. What are the computer programs you are using, and how does it impact you as a student during the pandemic? So you can write as much as you want na kana imong ginagamit during pandemic and share with us unsay iyang epekto nimo as a student. Does it affect with your napadali ba imong mga task nga gibuhat? Na-enjoy ba nimo imong staycation kumbaga? Or it could be you can share with us sa inyong klase using the application or using computer programs, something like that. Okay, do you have any question? Nag-gets lang assignment?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then okay, that's good. And for assessment, it will be posted in our Google Classroom as well. So really, will I question? So that's just about it. Let's check our learning objectives. Did we meet our learning objectives today? Did we understand computer programming by relating it to our daily activities? Na-meet ba nato yung learning objective before we end? Okay. I just want to...
Yes, sir.
Okay, ano lang. Next, understand how a computer program works in performing a task. Did we make it? Were able to understand it?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then
Yes, sir.
identify the different computer programming languages. Yes, sir. Identify the types of computer programs. And lastly, interpret the different applications of computer programs. Now, if wala na J question, if sure na, kindly turn on your cameras and we will end our class today. Sayo ra to, nakabag 2 hours.